As calls to order the City Council meeting dated Wednesday, January 15th, we will rise for our invocation led by Mr. Pamela Bailey, followed by our pledge of allegiance led by our own Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Williams. Please rise.
Happy New Year's, everybody. Happy New Year's, Commissioner Man. Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, I humbly stand before you. Thank you, Father, for leading and guiding us, healing us from our sickness and pain, and bringing us through whatever obstacles we face in 2019. Father, as this new year begins, as it was preached on New Year's Eve, 2020 is the year of focus. Be focused and stay focused on all matters of your life. This will not be without distractions. All distractions are not bad distractions. However, after giving attention to your distractions, regroup and regain focus on your goals. Father, my prayer for the city officials is a new thing. With a vision comes change. Complacency lacks vision. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not receive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Father, I ask that you continue to heal the sick and shut in, comfort those grieving families, and restore peace and harmony throughout the world. Lastly, continue to bless our soldiers who are across the seas. Bless us, Father, and keep us anointed in your blood. Thank you, Father, for listening to my prayer. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out this evening. We're going to get started with the oath of office. We have the swearing in of two commissioners. So, Commissioner Julie Martin, will you please come forward, and Judge Christopher O'Donnell, and this court judge will swear you in.
I, Julie T. Martin,
I, Julie T. Martin,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will faithfully perform the duties
that I will faithfully perform the duties
of Commissioner of the City of Brunswick,
of Commissioner of the City of Brunswick,
that I will support and defend
that I will support and
the
defend
city charter
the city charter,
as well as the Constitution
as well as the
and
Constitution
the laws of the state of Georgia,
and the laws of the state of Georgia
and the United States of America.
and the United States of America. Well, thank you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you hanging in there with us and letting us have our time to discuss things that we need to discuss, and hopefully always have the heart of our community foremost in our meetings. So thank you for the opportunity to represent you again for 4 years.
Also, we have sworn in of Commissioner John A. Casey III. He will be sworn in by Judge J.R. Tooten Jr., Senior Judge, Georgia Superior Court.
Commissioner Casey, it's a privilege to swear you into a third consecutive term as Commissioner of the City of Brunswick. So if you're ready to take your oath, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, John A. Casey III,
I, John A. Casey III,
do solemnly swear and affirm
solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully perform
that I will faithfully perform
the duties of Commissioner
the duties of Commissioner
of the City of
of
Brunswick,
the City of Brunswick,
and that I will support and
and
defend
that I will support and defend
the city charter
the charter
as well as the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the state State of Georgia, and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Congratulations, you just about got ahead of me.
Case for the floor is yours.
I'll just say, as you can tell, I was trying to get ahead of the judge, so I'm ready to go, and I know you don't want to get ahead of the judge, so I'll sit back down. But thank everybody that helped me for returning here. I cherish what we do, and I want to see the Brunswick Commission grow. And I'll just say this, that I had a lot of support, and I had some people that were willing to go put some signs up for me in places that I did not respond to. I'll tell them tonight that I thank everyone for doing that. I really do. Thank you very much.
I want to thank everybody for the ones who went out and voted, realizing we had a small voter turnout, which was not so pleasing to us here in the city of Brunswick. However, we're looking for a turnout even greater for our next election, which will be for our presidential election. So hopefully people will do that and realize the fact that when you vote locally, these are the people who really affect your lives and really right down to what you do, how you do things here. So please join us as we, for the next couple of years, try our best to have an initiative to get people not only to register to vote, but to go out and vote. Exercise that right to vote, especially here and everywhere in the city of Brunswick, and also our county. Commissioner, is there anything to add to our agenda?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, we've got 2 additions to our agenda tonight. I'd like to add item number 7A, consider approval of the adoption of resolution number 2020-02, creating the 2020 Brunswick Local Complete Count Committee.
Second.
It's probably vote second for add one item to our agenda for Brunswick County Local Complete Count Committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously 4-0.
Also, I'd like to also add item 7B, consider for approval, confirmation of city manager's appointment of John Hunter to the position of planning, development, and code director.
Second.
Okay, probably motion second for adding confirmation of city manager appointment of John Hunter to our position of planning, development, and codes director. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, that motion carries unanimously 2. Thank you.
So, I have one deferment. Item number 5 on the public hearing, land use conditional use for petition number 19-60 for the Cleve Cunningham agent petitioning for conditional use permit number at 4410 Altown Avenue for the use of car wash. And they're asking for deferment until the 19th of February.
Second.
Let's vote second for to defer item number 5 to our next meeting in February 19th, our meeting February 19th, our second meeting. That's on the public hearing. Are there any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. Okay. We will defer item number 5. Is that all we have, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, I want to also congratulate our new, or not new, returning commissioners to seat, Commissioner Martin and Commissioner Casey. Appointment of Mayor Pro Tem, I believe we need to defer that item as well. Can I get a motion?
We don't need to defer.
We don't?
No, that's correct.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion that Commissioner Julie Martin
Okay.
serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the coming year.
Second.
Motion second for to appoint Commissioner Julie Martin as Mayor Pro Tem for the current year. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, item number 4, public hearing, land use, conditional use petition number 1915. I did? Public comment. Oh, Jesus Christ. Give me. How about public comment period? I apologize for skipping that and still on my agenda here. I always do that anytime. So, for our public comment, this is about a 30-minute session that we have here, and we allow people to speak for at least 3 to 5 minutes. And if you haven't signed up to speak, you can sign up with the city clerk, and if time permitted, we will allow you to speak. On our agenda, commission to speak is Mr. Al Burheim. Mr. Burheim, will you please step forward, state your name and your address, please. You have 5 minutes, please, 5 minutes.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Al Burheim from 924 Union Street. And this is a follow-on public comment to my previous public comment in regards to the Coastal Plain League. And what I have presented in front of you is a spreadsheet. What I did is I did an analysis of all of the ball fields in the Coastal Plain League, the Excel spreadsheet, and I'll orient you to that spreadsheet. So we have team names, their stadium names, the state they're from, the year their stadium was built, the age of the stadium from 2020, marking 2020 current year, seating capacity of those stadiums, their left field, center field, and right field distances, and any notes that I can find on the websites. The green box indicates the highest value within that column. The orange represents the lowest value within each column. And at the bottom line, you'll see that's Edo Miller Park and its data. So what I want to do is present to you an analysis of the current league stadiums against Edo Miller Park. And what this will prove is that Edo Miller Park is a viable option. Okay, so you see the oldest stadium is 91 years old. It's in Macon. Macon played in a 91-year-old stadium. There are 9 of the 15 stadiums in the league are older than Edo Miller Park. The average age for those parks, when you add them all up, is the newest park is 5 years old. So the average age of the parks are 52, but remember, over half of them, 67% of them, are older than Edo Miller. So the average age is 52, Edo Miller is 68 years old. Seating capacity. The lowest seating capacity is 800, and that's with the team in Florence, South Carolina. The largest stadium is the Savannah Bananas at 4,000. The average seating amongst these stadiums is 2,408 seats. And by my estimate of the bleachers behind home plate at Edo Miller Park, you can fit about 775 butts in those seats. Left field line, again, the shortest left field line is Lexington County at 318. The Macon has the longest at 338 feet. Center field measurements, the shortest is in Wilmington, North Carolina. And the Wilson Toads have the longest at 405. So the right field shortest distance is in Lexington County. They have the shortest distance in left and right field. And the longest right field is High Point, North Carolina. Now when you take those averages, left field average is 327, center field is 392 feet, and right field is 327. And you compare that against the measurements of Edo Miller, 310 in left, 357 in center, 310 in right. By my estimate, you have to go out another 20 feet in the fence And that was confirmed by conversations I had with Mr. Steve Waters, the athletic director for Boone County Schools. And that was his assessment too. That field, I talked to the groundskeepers one morning at that field. They have to water and mow that field and keep it in game-ready shape 7 days a week. That field, we can play on it, 2 teams can play on it tomorrow. It's ready to go. The lighting's already up. Now, if you have to get the fence out 20 feet, you're probably going to have to move the center field light post and the scoreboard out. You're going to take that out too. It's going to need, and according to Director Waters, you're going to need to add 1 locker room, restrooms, add stadium seating, which we know. The current locker room could be used by the visitors. It's old, it needs to be fixed up. It's cinder buildings, basically, cinder block buildings. The batting cages are still in good shape, and these are his words. And the field is in the best shape it has ever been in. So I ask you to please consider this as a viable option. We already have a ball stadium here in the city limits of Brunswick. And it certainly is a waste that we're not using that stadium that's maintained daily in game-ready shape. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burrard. Also note that, yes, we do have a ball field in this city, and we chose to build another one of the Glen Academy and also for Brunswick High as well, for whatever reason. Commissioner, any comment? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Thank you, Mr. Burrard, for that comment. The city clerk, anyone else sign up for public comments?
Yes, Mayor. Andy Polite.
Ms. Polite, please step forward, state your name, your address, and you have 5 minutes.
I won't take 5 minutes. Good evening. I'm Annie Floyd, a community activist. And I'm here to make sure that you know that I will not let you forget about coastal outreach soccer organization. They are vital to this community and for all of our youngsters. They not only will provide the services that are so much needed, but also they are the type of role models that these youngsters need in order to succeed in life. And I will not let you forget, nor will I let the staff forget, that I will be coming to make sure that you have them foremost on your agenda and in your plan to make sure that their needs are met. They are doing so much for not only this community, but our youngsters, and they sorely need it. And I'm going to make sure that I remind you day in and day out that they need your consideration and cooperation. Also, that of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Polite, thank you for your comments. I'm sure they'll be taken under advisement. Madam Clerk, anyone else?
Mike Parrish.
Mike Parrish, please step forward and say your name and your address. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for letting me speak just a few minutes. I was here as the commercial realtor representing Hand in Hand LLC for the property that's being reviewed tonight, 4621 Altama. I wanted to speak with actually 2 hats. One is a commercial realtor. I was introduced to the president and senior officer of Hand in Hand. March will be about a year ago, March or April. The request was to obviously go look for a commercial property to be suitable for their business plan. And I went to look to see what I could find. Obviously, the first property was 519 Norwich Street. A lot of pushback from that for obvious reasons. I think things happen for good reasons. And certainly sometimes in real estate, it happens for both parties. The next task was to go back to the market. Ms. Linda Hagee, Ms. Ann Stetmore, and I, between the 3 of us, we started looking together. Ms. Hagee would call me, and at times she'd see something. I said, I do know about it, I don't know about it, do some homework. And then this property came up, 4621 Altama. As we know, it's on Altama. It's got good frontage. It's a good sized property. Obviously, it's owned by a church who would like to see, I think, this kind of mission statement be carried out for them. So obviously, from a professional standpoint, I'm very much for the project. I can hope that can happen. And I know you'll be considering that this evening. On a personal level, I moved to, as I've come to you before with other things that I've been involved in this community, I've only been in the Glenn County area since for March will be 5 years. And that's nothing compared to many generations who have lived here for years. But I remember when I came here by way of a job opportunity in real estate, a lot of people said, Brunswick's never going to change. Glenn County is what it is. And look at where we are today. Buildings are selling, investors are pouring a lot of money into the city. People believe in the county. And it's not just Brunswick, it's spreading far and wide. The Crest building has recently sold. A colleague of mine in Savannah with KW Commercial was part of that transaction. Money has moved to this community, but there's still a side of this that is heartbreaking. As a warden of St. Mark's Episcopal Church, I was asked one day, a few months ago, we learned that we had less fortunate living behind our shrubs, between the shrubs and the church. And of course, as the junior warden, I get to carry out the grounds and whatnot for the church. And I went over there and there was literally 1 or 2 grocery carts full of worldly belongings. Obviously, the rector of the church and I spoke. We just said, let's just kind of monitor the situation and leave it as. But that's just a small example of why a project, an endeavor of what Hand in Hand is doing could be so beneficial for this community. And going back to my realtor hat for a minute, where else would we go? There's just very little land that could fit the zoning and the neighborhood. You can talk further. I'm sure there's a couple of folks that want to speak about this. Just the location alone. I mean, you've got things within walking distance. You've got grocery stores, retail establishments that can serve that community. Going back to my personal hat, and I apologize I did not introduce myself earlier, so I had a text here. Father Alan Ackridge sent a letter to me. May I read that letter? I didn't know if that was appropriate. I have copies for it.
Oh, you can make it short.
It's short. Basically, this is Father Alan Ackridge. He sent this to me, to whom it may concern, dated January 15. I would like to offer wholehearted support for the efforts to address the problem of chronic homelessness in Glenn County and Brunswick on Altown Road in what was a Presbyterian church. Scrolling through this, he mentioned, I'll leave this with you all this evening. We are a witness that it is possible to invest we are a witness that it is possible to invest our most vulnerable populations in ways that positively impact the whole community. In closing, please vote to improve the quality of life for all of our citizens in this way by approving the request. Sincerely, Father Alan A. Ackridge at stmarksepiscopal.com. So if I kind of leave that with you all this evening, if I can. And again, I want to close with I'm very much in favor of both on the professional aspect and certainly personal. We can make a change in the community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
I'm no better.
Anyone who didn't get a chance to sign up, like to speak before I close out this session? State your name and your address, please.
Good evening. My name is Christy Jordan. I am the Chief Operating Officer and General Counsel in Southeast Georgia Health System. We're at 2415 Parkwood Drive in Brunswick. And I just came to speak on behalf of the health system in support of the Hand in Hand project, land use conditional permit. We've had an opportunity, executive leadership of the health system, to spend time with the board members at Hand in Hand, and we're excited about the possibility of having this resource in the community. We see a number of homeless patients in our emergency room. In our view, that's not the best place for primary care, the best place to keep our neighbors healthy. So we intend to partner with Hand in Hand to provide basic health services on site and to identify patients who may benefit from that program. And so again, I think it will be a great asset to the community and help reduce emergency room visits, which would be beneficial to us and also get those patients in a more appropriate setting. So just wanted to briefly share our support for the project. Thanks.
Thank you. I believe we right at our appointed time, 30 minutes for our session. I'm going to close out this session for public comment, and we'll move right along with our agenda. As a matter of fact, our first item on the agenda is conditional use petition number 1915 from Hand Inc. petitioning for a conditional use permit for 4621 Italian Avenue for use as a private care home. Mr. John Hunter, our interim and codes director, representing.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. As you mentioned, this is a petition for conditional use permit for use as a private care home. The subject parcel is 4.25 acres located at 4621 Altamont Avenue. It currently contains a church and associated parking. There's a site map on the first page of the report. The existing zoning is highway commercial. The immediately adjacent parcels are all highway commercial. Parcels east of Altamont, basically across the street from the church, is zoned R5, R9 single-family residential. Hand-in-hand blend plans to initially build 16 tiny homes on this 4.25 acres of land in a village formation surrounding a community room and offices where service providers may be housed. This will be in the first phase. Along with that first phase of construction, there will actually be a demolition of part of the existing building, in addition to the removal of some of the parking lot that was on the site as well. They will use the coordinated, the tiny homes will provide housing for 16 people who are currently experiencing homelessness. They will use the coordinated entry system to screen out sex offenders and anyone with history of violence. And residents will have communal responsibilities they're expected to keep up and contribute to the care of community room, common areas, and community garden. In future phases in 2021 and 2022, they expect to build 44 more tiny homes during those phases. The conditional use process allows the City Commission to place conditions on a parcel to make certain that the proposed uses are compatible with the surrounding uses. Section 23-9-3J of the zoning ordinance allows public or private care homes, provided such facilities conform with the requirements of the Georgia State Board of Health and receive written approval of the Lane County Board of Health and the State Fire Marshal prior to the issuance of any permits for construction and operation of applicable. Copies of such approvals to be attached to the building permit and be retained in the files of the building official, and provided further that such use conforms with the provisions of section 23-17-4 pertaining to care homes. Pause there for a moment about classification of this facility as a public or private care home. This is kind of a new concept for us, and meaning this type of facility that they're proposing. The closest thing we have in our code is a public or private care home. Obviously, tiny houses are not something that we've really seen very much of. And one of the reasons we looked at this as a care home, even though this isn't a traditional care home, are the provision of services on site. So they're bringing in the hospital, they're bringing in counseling, they're providing similar services to a care home on site. It won't be medical, but it will be managed care. And when I say medical, it's like maybe not an on-site doctor there at the facility. Staff notes that the permit authorizing the conditional use will only be valid for this particular use and would expire if the conditional use or operations pertaining thereto ceases within 6 continuous months for any reason. If the conditional use expires, the property can still be used for any of the permitted uses in the underlying highway commercial subdivision. Staff recommended in favor of granting the request of conditional use. At the Planning and Appeals Commission, there was a great deal of discussion about the and stormwater. The project team does have an engineer involved. They did provide us, as you see in the packet, a preliminary site plan. That does not specifically address stormwater. However, as they go through the building permit process, that is an element that will be reviewed, and they have done calculations to make sure that there's enough site space to accommodate any retention that may arise as needed. The Planning and Appeals Commission recommended approval of conditional use 1915 agreement with staff with the additional conditions that the CUP be tied to the proposed site plan as presented in the one-bedroom, one-story units as proposed. You'll note in their plan to file, obviously these tiny houses for a single person living in them, not two people, or to be two-bedroom units or anything like that. It's designed to have a single user in each. The Planning and Appeals Commission approved the recommendation 3-2. I'm sure there are other questions. We have representatives from NAM here this evening who can expound on other things that I may not have covered, but I'm sure you've got questions, so I'll be happy to open that up and answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Commissioner, is there a question for Mr. Hunter on these issues? This issue?
Well, I know that Commissioner Harris is not here tonight, and she had, let each of us know she's sick, but she had some concerns or thoughts about the stormwater management. I know you said that some of the existing building is coming down.
All right, so the current plan is for the sanctuary portion of the building to be demolished, as well as a portion of the existing parking lot. And I can point you on their site plan.
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
There is, it cuts the parking roughly in half and reduces the size of the building not quite by half. Obviously, then they're going to be building units around that as well. And I know we have Rebecca here from their engineering team who probably answer more specifics about what they're thinking about what stormwater loads they're living in.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a real good question about stormwater runoff, because if it runs through College Park, now we exacerbate the issue we're trying to solve.
Right, and that's something that we talked a bit about in the presentation of the Planning and Appeals Commission. And I could ask Rebecca to come forward if she'd like, if she's got something specific.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Montgomery. I'm Thompson Hutton, and Hand in Hand has approached Thompson Hutton to initially assist them going through the zoning process and then to also look at some design parameters to move this project forward. We were aware that the surrounding residents, specifically at College Park and Magnolia Park, have some concerns about their own drainage situation as it stands today. We would like to assure the neighbors, so to speak, that we will not be increasing runoff off of the site into College Park, Magnolia Park, or any of the other adjacent properties. We don't believe at this time that a full-scale detention pond would be required for this site. However, I do want to be very clear that should it be required when we actually get into the fine details of design, we will absolutely make sure that if there is a pond required or some sort of detention swale or some other sort of stormwater management facility, that Hand in Hand is dedicated to making sure that we put those things on site so that we do not shed any water to the surrounding neighbors and create a problem that is not already there.
So, just to ask the question, I heard everything that you stated. And what criteria do you feel, or do you state, that you don't anticipate a problem?
There is already impervious area on the site, as John mentioned. They're looking at removing a portion of the existing building and a portion of the existing pavement that's there on site. Some of those areas will be converted to green space, and then some other areas on site that are currently green space will become impervious areas. So there's a little bit of balancing there for what is currently currently impervious on the site, and then what will be impervious once they finish this on the site.
So what's the net gain and loss as far as that goes? It's just have an idea between what's currently the impervious pervious versus once the full site has been executed and the built environment is all there, everything's occupied. What's the difference?
I think we're probably looking at ballparking it within 10% of what's currently there. And whether it be under 10%, over 10%, that's not going to be our deciding factor as far as looking to stormwater wise. Even if we're looking at, a 2% increase, so to speak, in impervious area, we're still going to look at how much water is leaving the site, how quickly, and put in necessary features to make sure that we don't run off any water quicker than we are right now. So I don't want to get hung up on the exact percentage of what's there, what will be proposed to do, and things in much more detail than that. But as just a general perspective, we're looking at probably being within 10% of what we are now.
I guess my next question is, Mr. Hunter, how does the city work with the applicant to make sure that stormwater management is followed throughout the process?
So that is all typically handled in our design review process at the permitting stage. However, typically on projects like this, really almost any type of project development project of any kind, the engineers and the project team typically meets with the city engineer and the design review team ahead of any actual submission. And we do a review process checking against our stormwater ordinance. They provide calculations as part of that submission to calculate how much pervious surface there is, what are the stormwater needs, and that's all checked over by Garrow and the engineering department in-house. And until they're satisfied that they're not going to be increasing the loads, there's no permit issue. So that will hold up the building process until the engineering department is satisfied.
Okay, on this drawing, what are these two, yellow spaces, what are they represent?
These spaces here,
Yeah.
community gardens.
So the community garden on the face, outside, there's a buffer there to walk.
That's their current concept right now.
Is that red line fencing or?
Around the outside of the property.
Fencing or how's that?
So they would fence the property.
Look at it, they have a gate or something.
Yes, they do plan on installing a gate. It would be open during the daytime, and it would be accessible by the residents after hours, so they would have a code or a clicker or something like that that allowed them access to and from the property, as well as the emergency services that needed to access the site.
So this will be a gated community.
Any community, yeah.
Essentially, yes. And it would actually be lower impact than if this were purchased, torn down, and redeveloped as a traditional multifamily development on this property. One other thing I want to point out, I didn't include it in my report, but hand in hand did go to the December MPA meeting for the College Park area. They could probably speak more to that. I was not able to be there. I understand that Big Commissioner Casey was at that meeting. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them, or we can ask applicants to come
Sure,
forward.
we do, I have one. You spoke about tiny homes being care. So how does that link together?
So the tiny homes,
Other than provide service?
yeah, the tiny homes themselves are just the form of the living quarters. That's not necessarily related at all to this being a public or private care home. It is truly because of the services that they are going to be provided as part of this project. It's the closest way that it's unusual. It's
It
not
is
something
something
that we've ever been approached at, and it was the best classification that we could give it based on our knowledge of what programmatically they're going to be doing. If you didn't classify it as a public or private care home, this would be a multifamily residential unit, and we wouldn't be here tonight. So it would be allowed by right project with their initial look at another location. That was how we considered it as staff as a best fit, meaning public or private.
So what you're saying though is that hand in hand came forward to put this to the commission rather than just doing this letting it be a private residential area, which they could have on the highway commercial.
Correct.
But they got it front, try to get it for the community.
Right, so they're bringing it out, they're opening this up to the public. Obviously, this was at our December planning commission meeting. That was advertised for 15 days ahead of time. We also reached out to the MPA, met with them, I believe, December 12th. You know, and obviously we've had it posted for 15 days for this meeting as well. So there has been ample public notice, and they have put it out there as to this is what our plan is. Obviously, it's they are still fine-tuning everything, but they've done some pretty good homework and outreach from our perspective.
So do we need to look towards amending our housing, some of our zoning within our housing chapters to?
We have a lot of things in our housing chapter. I really need some more. That's something that we had extensive conversations about at our planning commission meeting this month. And that's something we're working toward. And actually had some conversations today with some potential funding sources for that. So there's a number of things there, whether it's our single-family residential, our lot sizes, our density, all of those things are built from the 1960s essentially. And it's not really meshing very well in a lot of instances, and considering things like tiny home communities,
Probably density downtown.
density downtown. One of the specific things we're looking at real closely, the intensive work session with the planning commission, is the GC core area downtown. Our density models are kind of out of whack with that right now. So we're looking at how Macon and some other communities are handling redevelopment of second, third floors to going from commercial to residential. So yeah, we've got a lot to do this coming year.
That's good that change is coming, change is here, as a matter of fact. So we need to do that. Commissioner, you got any further questions for Mr. Hunter at this time before I bring the applicant up? Will the proprietor please step forward?
Representative Jones decide who wants to come forward to speak for the active groups.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I just wanted to give you a little bit of brief background about the project as a whole. I know we kind of did this a little bit out of step, but I plan to start this from the beginning and then have some questions at the end of that. So as John mentioned, this is a 4.25 acre site on Alabama near Community Road. Mostly surrounded by highway commercial residential across the street. We're looking at doing a private care home on site, which is going to consist of converting an existing Presbyterian church to a community center surrounded by 60 tiny homes. Those tiny homes are going to be essentially dual pods, in that they will be one unit has 240 square feet, two little units on one concrete slab. They'll share a roof with a breezeway between. They have a porch in the rear that faces the other residences near there to give them a more community kind of feel, to encourage these people to get out of their homes and socialize with the other members of the community. They'll have community gardens that the residents are expected to participate in. Upkeep will also be required to help in the upkeep of the community center. The community center is going to have various services, and they're expanding, it seems daily. Hand in hand is looking at partnering with the hospital, as was mentioned earlier. Caseworkers from DHS to bring in some state aid caseworkers to look at things, like housing benefits, food stamps, those kinds of things. They plan on doing classes and courses for health and nutrition, psychological counseling, addiction counseling, various things like that, as well as looking at bringing in some professionals to help with the workability issue of the residents there, to help them improve their social skills, their employment finding skills. They're going to help bring some, help these people go out to actually look for employment, to not only give them a home or a place to stay, but to then overcome the issues that resulted in them being homeless to begin with. So hand in hand is taking the approach that first you get them off the street, you get them in a home, and then there are usually a myriad of other issues to address. So you don't just stop at the house, you continue on with what is the true root of the problem, to help that individual move forward from where they are, rather than just being stuck in this cycle that they're in. On the technical side, we talked about stormwater drainage already. There is water and sewer available on L10. It's gotten a letter of availability from the water and sewer, so that has already been established. The specifics on the routing and how that gets, to the joint water and sewer system in the right of way, that will all be in during the design phase, but that's usually one of the concerns, especially in recent years. We want to make sure that we're going to be able to have the water and sewer services they need. From there, I'd like to just open it up to any questions that you might have in addition.
State your name again.
Rebecca Montgomery of Thomas and Hutton.
How long will people be able to stay in one of these tiny houses?
It is my understanding that they're, assuming that they, abide by the code of conduct and they continue to be involved in the community itself, they're keeping with the upkeep of the grounds and everything. Assuming that they abide by those, it is my understanding that they will be permitted to stay.
That's correct.
That is correct, yes. In other words, they are not taking the approach that if an individual were to come in and they have an initial assessment where they have earmarked 3 areas of concern, whether it be psychological relation, something like that. They earmark these areas of concern, and his hand is not going to monitor the progress of that condition in order to allow that person to stay. They would obviously encourage any work that can be done, on a personal level to allow that person to improve. But their housing is simply based on them abiding by the rules. They want to make sure first that they have a place to stay, and then offer everything they can to help the person move on.
So when you move in to one of these units, and you stay there until you're ready to leave?
That is my understanding.
How about automobiles and things like that?
There's going to be parking on site. It's not anticipated that a large percentage of these individuals would probably have automobiles, but if they did, they would certainly be able to keep them on site there. If it became a situation where we're looking at a growing number of these individuals already having automobiles, there's certainly space on the property to allow some sort of driveway impervious vehicle parking areas.
So let me ask this. We have a lot of this in our community. There's a single mother with 3 kids. Would they be able to participate in this program?
I would invite Ms. Linda Haley to answer that. I'm not entirely sure about that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Thank you. The question was, a single mother with maybe 1 or 2 kids, if she came to, or was homeless and came to this facility, would they be accepted?
We are just set up at this point to handle single people. We're not set up to handle families or even couples, just single individuals. We would love to expand at some point in the future into that kind of a situation, but this community that we're proposing is really just going to be for single people who are homeless.
See, I know that and you're opposed to use the old hospital, down on the south end of town, was met with a lot of people that wanted down there, whatever. And I think one of the issues was they said that nobody really came to them and asked them how they feel about it. So have you taken the time to talk to the people in the general area, what you propose to do at this place?
Yes, we were very lucky. We talked to Reverend Murchison, who is head of the Neighborhood Planning Association for Magnolia Park and College Park, and he had a meeting arranged that Commissioner Kaysen was part of, and we opened it up for discussion. And really, I think I could summarize that the crux of the conversation centered on the runoff from our property, because that's what the College Park and Magnolia Park residents were most concerned on, most focused on. And we said that we were absolutely going to ensure that we did not contribute at all to their already existing problem of runoff, and that promise we were ready to keep.
Well, I noticed the people in South End out here have some issue with, I imagine it was stigma as to what was being proposed by you all. My question is that hopefully as you talk to the residents of College Park and Magnolia Park and surrounding area, that you didn't get bombarded with that issue.
I would say our reception by Reverend Murchison's group was polite, was open, and helpful to us and to them in sort of reaching an understanding of what this was going to be about. We were treated with great kindness and appreciated so much how the neighborhood was open to discussing what this was going to be and what it might be. We also met with the condominium association that is the group of buildings to the north and a little behind our property. And they had their issues as well, mostly about fencing. And I think we adequately engaged them in our conversation about what that was going to be, and we reached a satisfactory conclusion.
Commissioner, any further questions? Commissioner, we have heard from our planning and codes, what's called director, Mr. Hunter. We heard from Ms. Rebecca Montgomery, also heard from the applicant as well. And if there are no further questions from this commission, I will open it up to the public. So this is a public hearing. So as I open up to the public, this is a public hearing. I will entertain anyone who would like to come forward to speak for or against the granting of this petition. Please step forward and state your name and your address, and you have approximately 3 to 5 minutes.
My name is Pastor Jeffrey Murchison. I just wanted to say, Mayor, to the commissioners, Hand in Hand did come out to us in the MPA meeting, and they talked with us. They also went out into the College Park community and the Magnolia Park community, passed out flyers, went door to door. There was concerns about the runoff. They addressed that and said they would not contribute in any way, form or fashion, to the flooding issue College Park. There was a concern about security. I remember one of the College Park residents asked, because she said she lived right across the street from the property in question, what would they do about security? They promised the MPA residents again that they were doing screening, sexual offenders, violent offenders, and this type of thing to assure the community, that they would do everything in their power to present anything of that nature to happen. After that meeting, I sent out a communication to College Park and Magnolia Park residents. If anybody had any concerns, any questions, to come back to me, let me know. If we needed to set up some type of meeting again with just the MPA and hand in hand, we would do that. I got one response where a person said they didn't want the hand-in-hand plan to go forward from College Park. I got one response from Magnolia Park that didn't want it. Other than that, I heard nothing else from anyone else from the two neighbors. Now, me personally, Mayor, I told them as long as they do what they said they would do, I have no problem with anybody willing to carry as much as they're carrying as far as the responsibility, the monies, and the hard work to get something like that set up to help homeless people. I'm for helping people. If they want to help people and they're footing the bill like they are footing the hard work that they're putting in to help people. Me personally, I'm not speaking for MPA now, I'm speaking for Jeffrey Mutson. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. So I received on those two negative inputs. I haven't received anything else from Magnolia Park or College Park.
So can you speak to the negative input? What was the nature of their negativism?
They were concerned about security, they were concerned about the runoff, they didn't know, in fact, that hand-in-hand could do what they said they would do. They had questions about it, they were concerned about would it be another situation like Magnolia Park, or the fight, we're fighting with the flood. Some people they just get to the place they just don't trust when people say they're going to do something until they actually see it. But I was one person from College Park, one person from Magnolia.
Either of those people, to your knowledge, at the NPA meeting, or were they?
They were, one of them was at the MPA meeting. The other person, which is on the steering committee, she could not be because she had another event. But both of them are very involved in the MPA.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else please step forward and speak for or against the grant of this petition? Please state your name and your address, and you have 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Alan Booker. I'm a resident of Magnolia Park, also the District Commission. And I've been involved with the young ladies that are supporting this, behind this project for the last several months. I know their sincerity in wanting to help the least of them, least of us here. And I support this project. I do have some concerns about the number of units, but they're going to phase it in. I think that's going to be helpful so that they can judge how well the project is doing. And I think it's slated for 60 units. It may not end up being that, depending on how things go. But really, it comes down, and as I thought about it, just helping people who need the help. And to take on this task, I agree with what Pastor Mutchison said. He and I talked about this extensively. It really is a blessing to do this. Because we think of folk as being homeless, but this is a solution to it. And that's why I support it. Because they're going to prepare these folks whether they have some psychological issues or just they need income. And they're going to bring all the services to bear to ensure that they're just like anybody else, working or have income and being a part of the community. That's what this program is about. And And that's why it's so clear.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please state your name and address. Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes.
My name is Mike Williams. Obviously, live in Highland Park off of 41, so the direct project itself doesn't have a direct effect to me. My personal stance with everything is this is an amazing project. I am currently the founder and president of a nonprofit here in Brunswick that works with homeless veterans, and I'm also the homeless veteran liaison for the Homeless Coalition of Glen County. Even with, if they go to max capacity at 60, as they claim, with all the given resources that are actually available here, given the other tiny home initiative that's going in as well, we're still going to be looking at being able to house approximately 1/3 of the homeless that are in Glen County. The 2019 point in time count reflected 495 homeless individuals just in Glen County alone. That's a pretty big number. The tiny home initiative, Madam Commissioner, as you asked the question earlier, we need to investigate possibly adding language in there, including the tiny home stuff. This is actually, from what I've done a lot of research on tiny homes. These are trending. There's one, the tiny home villages in Savannah that they've started in Missouri. I mean, you pretty much can't put your finger on the state that doesn't have tiny homes as one. So they are starting to grow as a trend. So I'm by no means trying to tell you all how to do your job. My personal opinion would be it would be worth the time to actually look into looking at the language requirements and ensuring the zoning and everything adds up to be ahead of the ball instead of behind. The hand-in-hand organization has done a lot of work with the homeless. They are not going to disseminate between veteran and non-veteran, but there's still a possibility that from my angle, working with veterans, that they could possibly still be housing veterans. So there's a lot of positives to the project. So that's kind of my piece about it. Anybody have any questions about my statements?
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else speak for or against the granting of this petition? Please step forward, state your name and your address. You have 3 to 5 minutes. Well, it seems like everyone has spoken their piece. Commissioners, we are asked to vote on this additional use petition from hand to hand. All the comments have been provided, realizing that the city of Brunswick did not get the opportunity to vote on the other previous proposals that were two on the south end. I'm sorry. So, and hand in hand decided on their own to remove that and seek elsewhere. They're trying to be a good steward in our community. With all of that though, they have gone out to canvass the neighborhood where there are community, and also let the community know exactly what we're coming. They have made some provisions, some conditions, and also our staff here has put some conditions on them that we approve or not approve this petition. So that being said, I'm going to ask for a vote by the commission. I ask our city clerk to call each individual, and as you vote, you can explain your vote if you like or not.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit number 19-15 from Hand in Hand of Glen Inc., petitioning for a conditional use permit for 4621 Alabama Avenue for use as a private care home with the additional conditions that the conditional use permit be tied to the proposed site plan as presented, and 1-bedroom, 1-story units as proposed, and any additional city requirements as far as stormwater management.
If we probably go for second for recommend approval of a conditional use permit 1915 with the stipulations, conditions tied to that, especially with one with stormwater and also tied to the site plan. And if something else come up that city director there and the codes director would deem appropriate. Are there any further discussion? As stated, I said I ask you to, as we vote, to give you comments as well, if you would like to. Hearing no further comments at this moment, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Casey?
Yes.
Any comments, sir?
I think that this is a marvelous thing, and I can't wait to see it happen. And just hope and pray and wish all success in the world. And thank you for that. It's very
Commissioner Williams?
I'm going to vote no, and this is the reason. I think that Commissioner Harris should be able to have her questions answered. And so she would, I'm totally for this, but, you know, her not being here, I would prefer, I guess, to use the word rather than saying no, until Commissioner Harris is back. It's our next meeting.
So you abstained from the vote?
Yes, I'll abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem Martin?
I'm very much in favor, and thank you for staying the course and being involved in the community to the degree that Hand has. I think it's very appropriate at this location, and that staff is certainly well qualified to make sure that it gets executed.
Mayor Hodges?
I'm going to vote yes, and my reasoning behind it is because Hand in Hand has done their due diligence and sought out approval from the community. They also, the site plan seems to be where they, as a buffer from the road from Town Avenue, even though I'm not trying to put them in a corner or anything, but it seems to be more appropriate. Also, Harper's Joy didn't want in their neighborhood mainly because it was a residential neighborhood. And this is, even though it's across the street from a residential neighborhood, it seems to be setting highway commercial zoning that it should be able to fit in with the aesthetics of the community. I too care about homeless and homeless here, whether you like it or not. Every city I've been to have some type of issue with homeless, and it's really how they address it. This organization has decided to do what they can to address the issues, even though it may not be in the neighborhood that you would think would be appropriate. I don't think everybody would say, well, not in my backyard. However, I believe this is an appropriate way to try to address some of those concerns. I like the fact that the Homeless Coalition is part of this initiative. I like the fact that Southeast Georgia Health System is a part of it. It seems to be there are organizations coming to try to help with this homeless issue. Homeless population issue belongs to the city of Brunswick, and we, the city of Brunswick, have to try to do something to at least work on it, and this will be a good start right here. So I vote yes. So that motion carries. That motion carries 3, 1 abstention, 1 not here. Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Appreciate that. Thank you, Hand in Hand, for due diligence. Thank you, Dr. Give you a minute to move out of the building. Item number 6 on our agenda, consider approval of December 18, 2019 work session and regular scheduled meeting minutes, and our January 7, 2020 special call meeting minutes.
To approve the work session from Wednesday, December 18th.
Vote second for approval of December 18 work session. And the regular scheduled meeting minutes.
And the additional special call meeting of Tuesday, January 7th. So I make a motion to approve all three of those commission meetings.
Okay, and motion second for approval of the minutes. December 18 work session, regular scheduled meeting minutes, and also January 17 special call meeting minutes. Any further discussion?
There's one on the regular schedule meeting minutes on page 3, item 4. Says that there's a motion passed unanimously, 5-0-3-2.
That's enough.
Just an error on the ground.
Oh.
Unanimous is not 3-2. That's an error on the ground.
Okay, any other further corrections of our meeting minutes, special call meeting minutes? Regular scheduled meeting minutes? Okay, with that change, all in favor of raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Approval, excuse me. Okay, and move right along. Item number 7, consider approval of the selection of Urban Rock Development to be the developer of the Overthorpe Block Hotel and allow the Urban Redevelopment Agency to proceed with negotiations. Mr. Al Bertheim, who is currently the vice chairman, will be presenting.
Give me twice in the same night. How about that? All right, good evening again. And the purpose of my presentation tonight is to seek your approval for the selection of Rimrock Development Company to be the developer for the Overthorpe Block Hotel and allow the URA to proceed with negotiations with Rimrock. A little bit of history, I'll go through the history for you. The Rimrock Company, in partnership with Hotel Equities, approached the Urban Redevelopment Agency in early 2019 with a proposal to build and operate a hotel on the Overthorpe block. The proposal was tabled until the conference center specifics could be worked out. The Rimrock company made a presentation to the URA board at their December 19, 2019 meeting. After that presentation, the URA board voted to select Rimrock Companies as a hotel developer for the Overthorpe block and to proceed with discussions on the development agreement with Rimrock contingent on approval by the Brunswick City Commission. Some facts and issues for you. The Rimrock specializes in the acquisition, development, and management of strategic real estate investments. Their ownership portfolio contains 32 properties, and they have 55 properties under management. Total development invested is over $250 million. For the Overthorpe site, Rimrock is proposing a 4 to 5 story, 100 to 150 room select service hotel. The hotel will be one of the Marriott brands. Total investment is estimated to be between $15 and $17 million of their own money, and will create 15 to 20 jobs. Rimrock, that's once the hotel's built, of course. Rimrock and Hotel Equities have data that supports their project and feel that the growth potential for downtown Brunswick back up the studies. So tonight we're seeking your approval. to select Rimrock Development Company to be the developer of the Old Fort Block Hotel and to allow the URA to proceed with negotiations with Rimrock. Any questions for me?
Questions for Mr. Verheyen?
Oh, and in your head packet, of course, are the slides that Rimrock presented us at the last URA meeting. It gives you an overview. There's no specifics about the exact hotel they would build, but it gives you some background on the company, some of their leadership and their background. Some of the projects they've worked, they're very diversified. They've worked in all different types of fields, so they're just not hotel development specialists. They do storage units, they do restaurants, commercial restaurants. They do all kinds of space. They're working a huge project, trying to work a huge $1.5 billion project with the city of Jacksonville now for several hotels and convention centers. So they are well diversified, well funded, and are excited about building a hotel in downtown Brunswick. They see the need, they see the growth, and they want to be a part of it.
Thank you, sir. Comments, Commissioner?
How long would it take, do you think, to figure out which Marriott brand they would bring here? I think that's important.
Sure. The initial
And Marriott's got so many branded that they can fit any market that's out there. I mean, they could go anywhere and build something that probably would bring in revenue for that. And of course, we want to be pretty specific as to what we get here on the overall side.
Agreed, Commissioner Cason, and I will get you that answer. The initial conversation has been that it's going to be a Marriott courtyard, but that could change, but they're looking at a courtyard.
Will it have any retail space on the first floor?
Not that I'm aware of, not initial conversations. They will have a restaurant lounge area where you can get drinks and food, but it won't be a full service restaurant. And what I mean by that is it won't have room service 24 hours a day. But if you've been to, there's a Hilton Garden Inn. I can picture what they're trying to do. There's a Hilton Garden Inn I stay in across from my organization's headquarters in D.C. And outside the lobby is a lounge on the second floor, basically. And just you can overlook the lobby, and then they have the restaurant you can order food that a light menu that you can order sandwiches and some other light dishes. And it seems to work fine. But that's what they're envisioning right now.
So, as this is approved tonight, and negotiations are started, and that discussion transpires, at some point, will you already come back to the city commission for the final approval of how that deal is structured? Because I know it's city county owned land, and then you've got this private developer, so what's the process of that?
Absolutely. Once we start framing out an agreement, of course, we'll run through the city attorney, and our attorney will also look at it. They'll work together on that. And then, of course, it's coming back to the city commission for approval before we sign on the dotted line.
Mr. City Attorney, you got any comments or questions?
I think the only thing I would add to is that, this is going to be a project that's utilizing the urban redevelopment law, the components. This is why this is the type of agency that should be in place. So I think a lot of the negotiations will likely take place between the URA, their attorney, and the developers. So this is the private side of the ability for them to develop property. But I'm assuming, and I think it'd be appropriate that I'd be happy to help out in whatever way possible, and ultimately come back for you. There'll be other steps along the way to site plans and whatever need be done through multiple steps.
Is the federal, is the applicant, the group, Rimrock, are they planning on utilizing the federal opportunity zone amenities and offerings?
I don't want to speak for them, but we believe that they are all the various sort of development incentives that the city has.
So in essence, by putting together those incentives like that, TAG, the opportunity zone, that motion second for approval of the selection of Rumrock Development to be developed for the Old Lock Hotel on the Old Talk track, and for the verbal agreement to proceed with negotiations as well. Any further questions? All in favor, please raise your right hand. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, item 7A. Which is approval, consideration for adoption of resolution number 2020-02, creating the 2020 Brunswick Lake County Local Complete Committee.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Brunswick and Green County has been tasked with doing a complete count of the U.S. Census. And in doing so, we are following the U.S. Census and structure for constructing this committee. And with that, it includes the schools, the business community, the faith-based community, as well as local government and our local nonprofits. We was proposed a list of committee members, and we added on because we saw that some of those very hard to reach populations, stakeholders were not included. So we made sure like the homeless population was included and those who represent the low income, because what we see that those are the hardest to count. We had a meeting yesterday, and we decided that we were going to meet at least 4 times to make sure that we hit all the necessary parameters to make sure that everyone's counted. And then we also talked about some of the barriers that we may face, including those of Spanish-speaking community. So making sure that we identify those folks. Because we know that this year the census is completely online. So we know that technology may also be a barrier. So we have been in contact with the state office, who has a representative, I believe, out of who is going to be working with us. And they've already provided materials. I went to an NPA last night in Goodyear, and we already passed out over 30 items of materials. So we're going to continue to pass those materials out. We know that the census is very, very important to our community because over $23 billion is funneled to the state of Georgia alone due to the census. And if everyone is not counted, then we will not be eligible for these funds like SNAP, like WIC, like Section 8, our Pell Grants, our community development broad grant dollars that we receive here for the city.
Thank you, Ms. Mack. Commissioner, you heard the presentation. And do you have any comment?
The only comment I have is I appreciate that the commission was a part of the process of putting this committee together, and we were offered an opportunity to make sure that the right folks that were involved in all of that work were part of that committee. So thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve resolution number 2020-02.
Second.
We have properly motion second for the approval of adoption of resolution number 2020-02, to create the 2020 Brunswick Lake County Local Complete Count Committee. Any further discussion? I know, is that Ms. Monica Hart right there?
She's for a different line.
Excuse me?
She's here for a different line.
Okay, so all in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right. Item number 7B, and that is consider approval of confirmation of city manager appointment of John Hunter to the position of planning, development, and codes director. Is Mr. Hunter here?
I'd like to introduce Mr. Hunter. If you got him, please stand. During my tenure as city manager, I've had the opportunity a few times to come before you and make that nomination and that appointment and ask for confirmation. Tonight, I'm pleased to let someone you know. I don't have to go through their resume too great of detail. Someone who's been on board with us since 2015 in a number of roles. John came on board, I think, initially working with demolition, moved into a planner one position, elevated to a historic preservation officer, to the senior planner, and now the interim director of planning development and codes. John is skilled in many fields, but he has greatly moved into planning and has done a great job for us in all those roles. And we've gone through a process. Former director, Brenda Dice, left us in December. She notified us in November of the departure. We have been advertising for the last 2 months. Having gone through the process, I'd like tonight to make a nomination of John Hunter for Director of Planning and All Codes. I don't have to say too much more. I think we all know John. Good work for just the city.
Thank you, sir, for bringing it before us. Commissioner, what's the will of this?
I'll make a motion we approve John Hunter.
Second. Motion second for the approval of Mr. John Hunter as our new Director of Planning, Development, and Codes. Any further discussion?
No, I would just like to say thank you for all that you have brought to our community, our city, working with staff, working with the public. It has just been great. So thank you very much for your service as not just as a city employee, but in the position that you hold.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would you like to hear from the director?
Let's see, man, while you were there, I think it's a good opportunity for us to talk a little bit about you. We realize that you are leaving us and will be traveling on to do even better things at your next position. We want to thank you for the leadership you provided to us as we move forward for the last couple of years that we've had you here. As you realize, and we realize that we have moved forward quite a bit. We have a lot of ways to go, but you put us on the track that will help us get there. And we appreciate that more than anything. You've done, as you mentioned before, done some hiring of some key positions, and those key positions have helped make ones even better. So we want to salute you for the things you've done for us and how you have steered the ship. I used to say about some people, they complain about the wind. And some people, they complain that the wind is doing what it's doing. But you have set the sails, changed the sails so we can sail to even greater heights. And for that, we really, really appreciate it. Please give us a drum hand. And to that end, I'd like to present you with a plaque from the City Council, from the staff, basically, from us to you. And also knowing that hopefully we hope don't change nothing. It says to the City of Brunswick, honor James D. Drum in appreciation for your dedicated service. The City of Brunswick says thank you for your hard work, your commitment, and your contribution to our success. Without you, we couldn't have done this. It's from Mayor Cornell Harvey and the City of Brunswick City Commission. We'll give it to you this day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would just say I thank the City Commission, Mr. Mayor, and yourself for the opportunity, Commissioners, to serve as City Manager the last 5 years. I think we have done a lot as a team. When I came in, I found a lot of empty offices at City Hall. I found a lot of empty offices at the Mansfield Annex, and I think we kind of came together, consolidated some of our buildings. We made some smarter choices financially. We did put some key people into some good positions and made a big change for our community. We don't have that many empty offices anymore. We're actually kind of stretching at the seams at City Hall, and we're getting a lot of things done. A lot of those things that were on our list of goals 3 or 4 years ago, I'm going through them, and I'll send them out to you before I depart. But it's nice to see the check marks by them, and we're nearly completed. And so I'm proud that we've been at the City Commission, myself, and my great staff. Some that are here, some that we appreciated the other night for the appreciation event. But we all did it as a team, and I look forward to seeing great things with the City of Brunswick in the years ahead. And I'm glad we helped build that foundation.
I'm glad you're part of it, so thank you again. Okay, the next item on agenda, alcohol beverage license, and a new license. Consider approval of one new alcohol license. Name of the business is Russell, owner is James Russell, owner, at 1824 North Street. Officer Elliott is presented.
Good evening. Well, as stated, I am standing before you in reference to the consideration for approval for the alcoholic beverage license, which is the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits for consumption on premise. This establishment is, or will be known as Russell's Sports Bar, owned by Mr. James Russell Sr. and his daughter, LaRonda Russell. And nothing prevents them from holding the alcohol beverage license.
Okay. Questions, Commissioner? Okay, seeing that this is a new license, I'll open it up to see if anyone here who would like to speak for or against. There's the owner here right now. Just come up, anything you want to say before I open it up? Is there anything you'd like to add or say before I open up to comments? Public? Thank you, sir. I don't think anyone have any questions for you. I don't think so.
Have you had an establishment such as this before?
Yes, ma'am. I ran an establishment like this about 7 or 8 years ago for about the same amount of time. And it was a successful and wasn't, very few calls in to 911 or whatever. It was well managed, and this place would be the same.
Thank you.
I cater to the adult population or whatever, we enforce, our rules and regulations for our customer benefit, and I also employ off-duty city policemen as my security plus, personal security, whatever. So it will be a well-maintained business, and we'll do our best to be a part of, Brunswick society, whatever, with no problem.
Thank you, sir. Okay, as I open it up to anyone to speak for or against the granting of this alcohol beverage license, please step forward, state your name, your address, and you have 2 to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. I've been a resident. My name is Philip Mays. I live in the 1800 block of Wolf Street, and I'm retired. And my wife and I and some of the other neighbors, we have issues about the liquor license because before Russell obtained that club, they had a club back there, and all it caused was a lot of confusion. We can't sleep at night because of the loud music. They have cars parked all the way around the yard, blocking
Thank you. Anyone else step forward for or against the granting of this petition?
Bishop of the Brunswick Association, 950 Albany Street. Mayor Commission understand tonight in favor of this business establishment being open. So Mr. Russell did have an establishment in the past, and this location had a business, a same nightclub there also, no police involvement, but it had all this office. And Mr. Russell had stated that he would have all the police would have in the city of Brunswick to secure the outside of his establishment. And he also heard stated he catering to not the younger crowd, but the older crowd, where they can have somewhere decent for people to go to a sports bar and grill, to have a drink and watch sports television. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go forward to speak for or against the granting of this petition. Okay, somebody wants to step forward. Officer Elliott, you said that you are in favor of granting this license or find no fault to the granting of this license?
Just no fault to the granting of the license. I sent out 157 notices to anybody that had a mailbox within 600 feet of the establishment to let them know ahead of time that tonight was going to be the presentation of the consideration for approval. So I got 157, 57 came back to me that nobody lives at that address. So with that said, those were the additional efforts just because it was my first time doing a brand new license. But again, nothing in the background prevents them from having an alcohol beverage license.
Can you tell me what's the name of this establishment?
Russell's Sports Bar.
Is it the
Just
old
They currently have not obtained their business license. They're very close within like the next week at max. With that said, from what I'm being told, the certificate of occupancy is going to be up to the 299 mark per from people that can be inside the building.
So, I realize you can't necessarily control the age of your patrons as long as they are 21 years or older. But are there ways that this license is approved could just be watched or make sure that it doesn't create other issues within the neighborhood?
Well, sure, we could open it up on being on probation status to begin with to see how that goes. Because outside of that, they have the amount of parking spots that they need for the establishment. Yes, it is backed up to a residential area, as folks were just saying. The only thing I can think of that would potentially put people at ease that are not in favor, those that showed and those that didn't show, would be to maybe start off with probation status, just to show that, hey, in good faith, this is what we're doing for the community for those opposed, and they show that there's no issues, and that's a suggestion, but.
What about added security? I mean, you know, people who have security, they can stop the loud noises and the outside the club. I remember when the club right across the street here was having issues with that, and we made sure that all that wouldn't happen, and eventually we shut it down because of that.
Yes, sir. These are all stuff that we can mandate if need be. Anything that Mr. Ryan Corey is also in agreement in whatever the commission wishes, we can make happen. Whether it's security, whether it has to be police officer security specific.
Well, he just stated that he will have police officers as security. He just stated that. That's what he stated.
Yeah, because that would always cut down, and that's what a lot of the issues cut down when we have off-duty officers, because when problems arise, everyone doesn't tie patrol officers unless need be, but they're there to keep the peace as long as they can handle it if anything should go out of hand.
How long has this business been closed?
From the very understand of the building itself. It's a very large, spacious building, and they had to do a lot of renovations, but, how long would you say you worked on it?
About a couple of months.
So outside of the other business closing, which was shortly just before they moved forward, because they came to me pretty much at the beginning of the alcohol growing season for last year, asking questions about it, entertaining it, to make sure that it would be in a good spot. And
Did we have problems there when it was operated before?
Chief, can you answer that question for us, please?
Yes, sir. It used to be Club Cache before that, and it was operated, probably closed roughly 8 to 10 years ago. That's a guess at best. But we did have off-duty police officers working there then. It is a residential neighborhood. It was very high capacity, very well attended, I guess is the right way of saying that. Of course, there were problems there, crimes committed, drugs. That was different ownership, different time, but something to consider is it is a residential neighborhood. Parking was a problem then. I fought on the street right outside trying to arrest somebody from that former establishment before. So just a couple of things to consider when you make your decision.
Commissioner, any other comments you have, or questions?
I'll make just one comment, and I don't think that we can put the sins of the past on the current individual. So, I mean, what happened in the past may not ever happen again. So, to say, McDonald's had 3 fights, so we're not gonna let Burger King open up in that same building. It's, it's what we're saying. So I'm ready to vote on it.
What opportunities would we have to look at some sort of a probationary period just to make sure they get off to a good start, there's not issues with the residential neighborhood close by, and that things are being, businesses operating in a good manner?
You can place them, suggest you can place them on probation beginning with the issues of the license. Stipulations available to you that, additional security, lighting, those types of limiting the hours of operation. But, it's similar to hiring an employee, putting them on a probationary period once they've completed that, they're no longer on it.
Well, let me introduce that here. We have used probationary period as a punitive measure, and I wouldn't want to try to use that in this sense. Now, if they have,
Should or shouldn't.
well, conditions is fine, but probationary is like we use that as a punitive measure for people who have violated our codes and so forth. So I'm very hesitant to try to swap that around like that. That's gonna open up a can of worms, I believe.
I'm just about it's an option that's available to the commission if they wish to do so.
What are the planned hours of operation?
Ms. Maloney, would you like to come and speak?
Operations hours would be, I like to open up in the evening time, like, getting over the work crowd, whatever, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock to usually, the last place I ran, we anywhere from 12, no later than 2 o'clock.
Every night?
Pardon me?
Every night?
No, basically, I would like to try beginning 5 days a week, but if it don't work, then it'll be a 3-day program, Thursday through Saturday.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner, any further questions? Let's move right along with this item. We've heard from people who spoke for, and heard from people who spoke against granting this petition. So now, Commissioner, it's up to you. What's your will of this?
Now, I make a motion to approve the alcohol beverage license for Russell Sports Bar at 1824.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor, and I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, and probably motion second for the approval of the new alcohol beverage license for Russell, at 1824 North Street. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Officer Elliott. I see you still here for alcohol beverage license renewal. Consider approve one alcohol beverage license renewal. The Blue Door. Owners Constance Lindsay and Enzo Castafani.
Thank you, Director. The Blue Door was up for renewal at the end of last year, and there was some rumors that they were closing because they weren't answering, but at the very last minute, very last day, they showed up, they got it done. So they were unable to operate from January 1st to January 15th because they didn't meet the renewal deadline. And they're seeking their renewal approval today so they can go forward to the renewal. Nothing that prevents them from being able to renew.
All right, Commissioner, you heard any comments? I entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve, we approve the license of Blue Door.
Second. Motion second for approval of alcohol beverage license renewal for Blue Door. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Officer Elliott. Appreciate it very much. Okay, we're down to our city attorney item. Item number 10. Consider approval of a memorandum of understanding between the city of Brunswick and Glenn County regarding the administration of the community development block grant disaster recovery funds for 31520 zip code.
That's correct. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We have before you guys an MOU between the city of Brunswick and Glenn County regarding the implementation of dispersing essentially the funds that we're receiving. If you recall, I believe in October, the city of Brunswick executed the RCGDR agreement. Under that agreement, DCA is awarded us $300,000 for DR funds to be used in 315 zip code. Had Monica Martin and the city county representatives that are contemplating the agreement. I've asked would just do a little background as to why the MOU is being requested. Because essentially it's going to place the city as the sole contact point for the implementation of DR funds within the
So as you guys know that the Department of Community Affairs have given us an initial award of $300,000 in order to stand up a program that's going to allow us to meet unmet needs here in the city of Brunswick, but specifically the 31520 zip code. There is a portion of the county that falls within that 31520 zip code. And we just kind of felt, along with urging from DCA, that it would be best for our citizens as far as being able to supply and be effective and efficient with the deliverance of this grant. And so what we decided to do is come together as the city and the county and allow the city to actually service the citizens that are within the county portion of that zip code. And so that is what this MOU will do, will allow the city to service those particular citizens
the citizens, and we think this is a perfect opportunity for the city and county to work together.
It's hard to get something that.
Good afternoon, I'm Department Grants Coordinator for Oakland County. So this has come to fruition after many months of planning. We actually started conversations in early 2019, and after many meetings and conversations with the Department of Community Affairs, we thought it prudent to eliminate any unnecessary bureaucratic expenses and additional layers. So instead of having to split the monies to hire 2 program managers, 2 consultants, we just thought it best to funnel the monies directly to the city of Brunswick and allow for more funds to go directly to our citizens.
Is there there's a defined dollar amount that's going to be managed and administered? So MOU, I didn't see a date of when it ends. Is it just you spend down the money and then it's MOU resolved, or?
It corresponds with the CDGMR agreement that the city. It's on actually page 2 or 3. For the term of the MOU subject shall be the duration of the agreements entered into between the city and DCA. So the MOU will correspond with the same term of the prior agreement with DCA.
I really want to commend the city and county working together. But you know, it's kind of strange that the staff is always working together, city and county. And public service will always have issues with each other somehow. I think sometimes we get out of the way and let them administer or manage the things that they should do. I think our community would be better served. So I commend the county and the city both in this venue coming together to serve our citizens in our whole community. So I appreciate that. Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Steele or City Attorney, before we ask for proposals?
This is a program that had all the money and dollars in it. It's part of it. Where's the
It's coming.
It's in the first paragraph.
It's in the middle.
The only thing I would add is that we'll put the fact that we'll take it up at the meeting of the commission tomorrow.
Well, we thank you, Commissioner. So, no further question. I entertain a motion on this, please.
Mr. Mayor, I offer a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the city of Brunswick, Lynn County, regarding the community development block grant disaster recovery fund.
There is probably no second to approve of the MOU between the city of Brunswick and Lynn County regarding the administration of the community development block grant disaster recovery funds. Any further discussion, comments? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hart. Thank you, Mr. Steve. Commissioners, we have come to the end of our regular printed agenda for this meeting. I know there is a need for executive session, so please tell me what else you got.
Litigation.
Yes.
Make a motion that we adjourn to executive session to discuss litigation.
Second for us to go into executive session for litigation and personnel. All in favor, say aye. Well, that motion carries. We will go into executive session, after which we'll come back and adjourn our regular